talk about the one scenario every government, every military strategist, and every world leader spends billions trying to prevent. Because once it begins, there are no winners, only survivors. What if two nuclear powers actually went to war? For nearly 80 years, the world has lived with a strange kind of peace. Not because humanity stopped fighting, we didn't. Wars continued, borders changed, governments rose and fell, but one line was never crossed. The last time a nuclear weapon was used in war was in 1945, and the world has never forgotten what it saw. Not a battlefield, a city changed forever. In seconds, people walking to work, children going to school, families eating breakfast, gone before they understood what was happening. And for the ones who survived, the weapon followed them into their bodies, into their children's bodies, into the next generation and the next. The world looked at what it had done and understood something it had never fully understood before. Humanity had created something it could never take back, and here is what most people don't realize. Those first weapons, the ones that changed entire cities in 1945, were small by today's standards. The weapons that exist now are not twice as powerful, not 10 times. Some are hundreds, even thousands of times more powerful. Now imagine, not one city, not two nuclear powers locked in retaliation, each launch triggering another, each explosion demanding a response. The cycle, nobody knows how to stop once it starts. The consequences would not stay inside any border. Within hours, financial systems built over decades would begin to freeze. Not slow down, freeze, transactions stopping, banks closing, markets that open every morning without fail, not opening. Within days, the ships that carry food across oceans would stop moving. Not because of the war itself, because the systems that coordinate them, the insurance, the financing, the logistics would begin to collapse. Ports sitting full, shelves going empty, medicine running out, not only in the countries at war, but around the world. And then comes the warning scientists have studied for decades. If enough cities burned at the same time, the smoke would rise higher than weather, higher than rain can wash it back down into the layer of the atmosphere that sits above our weather systems, and it would stay there for months, possibly years, blocking the sunlight that every harvest on every continent depends on. Not blocking it completely, but enough to shorten growing seasons, enough to reduce harvests, enough to push food prices higher, enough that countries thousands of miles away with nothing to do with the war could still face food shortages silently, globally, simultaneously. The people who study this use careful language. They call it nuclear winter. They publish papers, they present their research, they use words like estimated, modeled, and projected, but what they're describing quietly through science is a world where more people could die from hunger in the years that follow than from the weapons themselves. That isn't science fiction. It is a possibility that scientists have spent decades trying to understand. One decision made in a moment of fear, miscalculation, or pride could set in motion a chain of events that no border could contain, no economy could escape, no family anywhere on this planet would remain untouched. This is why those 80 years of restraint matter so much. Not because the weapons weren't there, they were in no point new to judge that intentions weren't real, they were, but because enough people in enough rooms understood there is no winning this kind of war, there is only the world before. And whatever comes after, the question that should keep all of us awake is whether the people in those rooms today still understand it the same way.